Well, one of the most tedious tasks you're asked to do as a landscape designer is to produce a plant schedule. So here's an example of a finished drawing. We're ready to put a plant schedule into the design. gCADPlus gives you a way of doing that efficiently. We can say gCADPlus, plant schedules and lists, come down to plant schedule, and we'll choose draw the schedule. We first asked for the height of text that we want to use, and I'll leave it at 150, and I'll input the corner point. We'll go down to the other end of the table and click. gCADPlus draws the schedule for us. It's a block. We could get in there and edit the block if we need to, but as I look down through the block, see this symbol here, symbol for Magnolia grandiflora. That's this one over here. I'll select it, and can you see, let me just widen that a little, it's Magnolia grandiflora teddy bear, and there's a code MGTB, and nowhere in our standard schedule is that code included. And clearly the way the design has been done here, where the number of those is totaled up, there's 3 magnolias to be used, and for sake of clarity we haven't drawn a line from one to the other and then label, although you could. This works pretty well. But we want in the schedule to have that code incorporated. So gCADPlus gives you an alternative. We can run a custom content. The series of questions that are asked a little longer. Do we want to include the schedule? Yes, we do. Do we want to include red circle markers? There's years where you have masses of planting. We'll say no. Do we want to include the type, whether they're tall tree, small tree, or whatever? I'll say no to that for the moment. Do we want the code? Certainly we want the code. Do we want to include the pot size of the container? I don't think so at the moment. Do we want the botanical name? Yes. Do we want the common name? Yes. Do we want to print the common name under the botanical name? I'll leave it at no. That'll put it in separate columns. And now our text height 150, and I'll pick a corner point, similar position, but I'll go out a little wider because we've got a little more to fit in. So gCADPlus redraws the whole thing. I probably could have narrowed it a bit, but you can see there's our Magnolia grandiflora teddy bear. The code is now there, and the number of instances of that species are totaled in the last column. So that saves a lot of time, and it's quite a flexible way of generating a plant schedule. The design and the plant schedule interact with one another. What I've done here is add a couple of extra magnolias, and if we come down, here's our magnolia. We have 3 of them, and I've added 2 more. So you can continue to design, add and subtract plant symbols from the design, and all we need to do to update the plant schedule is select Update. Nothing appears to have changed, but if we zoom in here and we look at the magnolia, we now have 5, which is obviously correct. So that's a very useful option. The options that you see in the plant schedules and lists are all designed to assist in generating this plant schedule. The schedule works from a plant database file, a simple database file that we call a GCP file. If you look down on the bottom of the screen, in the status line, you can see that there is one attached to this drawing, so let's look at it. And here it is. We can scroll through the drawing. Notice the codes are there, the pot size is there, botanical name and common name. So we can edit that at any time we like. It's a design for Melbourne in southern Australia, so the plants in that schedule are ones that this designer works with and she's confident of using in any design, so loads this particular file with many of her drawing. Well, here's another drawing where a plant schedule has been generated. This particular design uses the default GCP file that comes with GARDENCAD, and it's rather a large plant database file. So let's do what we did before, and let's have a little look at it. We can scroll down this list. We can sort by clicking here, and now it's sorted in alphabetical order of common name. We can go back to sorting in alphabetical order of botanical name, but as we come down through here, I think you may be able to see this is a very long file, and I would struggle to keep these species and their characteristics in my mind at once. There's rather too many of them. We're well over 400. So the example you saw before of quite a small list for a particular site is, I think, a better one. The other thing to note is that the plant schedule here has been drawn with a different font. It being the schedule is drawn with the current text style font. In this case, it's one called Arc Style has been set, whereas the other one was a style, I think, called Uppercase. The other options on the list help you in this process. You could, say, show all the symbols with names. That shows you those symbols that you have assigned to a botanical name. Similarly, you might want to use Set Data to a Plant and right-click to finish that. If you make a mistake, you would remove data from a plant. You can search through the whole drawing for a particular symbol, and you can click Show the Species Tag and click on this one here. When you do that, it just shows in the, I'll widen that, shows the common name, but easier than that, just pick the symbol and the species code shows. So I think that particular option will be used infrequently, and you can apply a code to the center of all selected symbols, and that, I think, is a topic for another day. So I hope that quickly runs through the characteristics and steps you need to take in generating the plant schedule in a landscape drawing.